We are live for the second time as the Rabbit Hole Sports and Media YouTube channel, or Rabbit Hole Radio in this fictional universe, brings you Pac-12 football as the Sonoma State Seawolves look to cap off what has been a tremendous regular season on Senior Day today in front of the Rohnert Park faithful, welcoming the Texas State Bobcats, who are red hot, winning 33-0 and 46-25 in their last two games. They have clinched their spot to remain in the Pac-12 next season, relegating Wyoming back to the Mountain West, but bowl eligibility is still on the line for the guys in gold, at least on the helmet, that is, for the Texas State Bobcats. Maroon pants as we get set to get going in what is the final time in front of the home faithful for a number of key players on our team. Scott McLawler, the tight end, Keontae Tyson, running back, Spencer Strickland, slot back, Bubba Van Claiborne, the BVC pipe, Jaquez Blanks at linebacker, Terrell Pace in the slot, Noah Collins at corner, Deshaun Weeks on the D-line, a number of starters playing their final game and pulling out the powder blues for this occasion. That's kind of the tradition I am trying to start here with this team on Senior Day, pulling out the powder blue home uniforms. As you see the stats for PJ Hatter just a second ago on the screen, he will be directing this Texas State offense, which is led by a very good core. Ishmael Mahdi, 89 overall at running back. Cole Wilson, 89 overall at receiver. Bo Sparks, the number 2 option, and 86 overall. A very good unit. Trips right, play one. Mahdi on the ground. Seawolf defense does a decent job. It is a gain of 3, and we see the no huddle, which is something we had to be on the lookout for. Would we see tempo or not against this spread team? Hatter on the ground. That's going to be the biggest part of his game, his multi-dimension ability, dual threat element, right? That's what we call it. Run pass ability from PJ Hatter, number 6. Doesn't see the field extremely well, 75 awareness, but 93 strength, so decent arm, solid accuracy in the lower 80s to the shorter and intermediate ranges, but a little more sporadic, we will say, down the field, only in the mid-60s on deep throws. Kai Riggins, the freshman, breaks up the throw to the outside, and that'll bring up the first third down for Texas State. Big key for us, especially on third downs, is going to be showing pressure on the left, actually bringing pressure on the right-hand side. A very good pass blocking unit here from Texas State. The weakness is going to be at right guard. And play action here. Hatter, the lefty, throws it right off the helmet of Bubba Van Claiborne, and not the intention. I put him in man to follow that guy to the flat. He gets kind of caught on the line, and Hatter puts it right into his dome. But that is not going to phase this Bobcat unit, as they will stay on the field here and go for it on fourth down. The right guard who I was talking about, number 65, Emeka Big O. We see him play a big role right there. Big number 65, and I mean that quite literally. He's like 6'5", 357. Not great movement, so vulnerable in pass protection, but he is, without question, their best run blocker. Quick to the line. Play action again. Hatter from the pocket, just out of the reach of Alexander Valentine, and it is going to be a big play down the middle of the field for this Texas State unit. We see it right there, just out of reach from Valentine as we zoom in on it. Game of inches, as they say, and it is a big play down the field to number 1, Chris Don Jr., 80 overall, primary slot guy. Number 4 on the receiver depth chart, but number 1 in that slot position. Shifting on first and goal from Texas State. A lot of trips early with 2 receivers and a tight end to one side. There we see it in a bunch. Mahdi breaks out, gets tripped up just enough to let the defense catch up, and that is Telek Lockett, number 73, the best offensive lineman on this unit, who is banged up on this one. The left guard, 87 overall, going to bring up a second down and goal, as it looks like Texas State is going to bring in the goal line unit. Sonoma State is going to counter with 4-3 over. Use it as a little heavier of a personnel than intended as a 4-3 over, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Up the middle, stuffed up, and this Sonoma State defense takes care of business. Ran right at that left guard position where the backup just came in. Already not a great run blocking unit. They're not terrible. They're, probably about average. Even with us in run blocking, you can't, disregard the run, especially with Mahdi. We got to pay attention to it. But with their mix of threats and pass blocking ability, certainly more concerned with the pass. Hatter tries to get out here. Jordan Underwood says no. The contain comes into play. And a third down stop for the Seawolves. Third sack of the year for number 24, Jordan Underwood. We see the replay here. Zone defense. Hatter is going to get out. Maybe a little prematurely. Probably could have just stepped and worked his way up. Although we did have a little bit of a weird kind of rush going on the right where our guys stacked up. And it did look like someone was getting off the block. But maybe a little premature. But it is a field goal to get it going for Texas State. And 3-0 early here at Sonoma Stadium as the Seawolves 8-3 on the campaign, trying to finish this season with 3 straight victories. Got off to a 4-0 start for a 2-3 5-game stretch in the middle there, but back-to-back wins for a little bit of a recentering. Ty Hardy on the return, trying to get to the outside. Cheese please. One man misses, but cannot shake the rest. He goes down. Barnes and company come out. You see the key players right there. Keontae Tyson. You can also see McLawler in the picture, as well as Kalen Franklin. Right tackle by position, left tackle on our depth chart, and by usage, I guess you would say. Going to come out in a power look on first down, extra tackle on the left-hand side. Barnes getting the blocking set. Going to try Tyson early. Not much going on, but going to be a big key for us today, going at this defense in the run game. Got to look out for where Traylon Payne is, number 29. He is a 77 overall, but due to whatever boost they got going on with their coaches or morale or whatever all plays into that, he's playing up to a 91 on the depth chart pregame, 88 in-game depth chart. So I'm assuming he's going to play more to that 88 that we see. Very fast and I don't know, great pursuit unit is the best way to put it. Very similar to Wyoming in structure, but faster and a little more lethal. So got to be more calculated in our attack as Tyson gets out on the counter. They run the 4-2-5 like Wyoming, and that counter concept ends up playing huge with that overhang you see right there from the linebackers, with the 2 linebackers in the middle and that overhanging safety outside of the tight end lined up just inside of our slot receiver to the right now. So counter hits huge, inside zone weak. That's going to be big for us. If we do throw the ball, we need to leave in extra blockers. Their edge rushers are very quick, very fast, have very good finesse moves, and our tackles are a little slower. So they're probably going to need some help, and going to need to give them that with our tight end and running backs so we can take some shots down the field against these DBs who, pure ratings-wise, again, I've talked about this multiple times, if you're just looking at straight overall, are better than us, but if we get our matchups oriented right, we can use speed from Javon Moore against their number 2, and we can also use the route running from CJ Peaks against their number 2 and their slot receiver. So if we get our guys oriented right and get the linebackers and safeties focused on the run, we can still take some shots down the field, but we may need some help providing time for Teron Barnes to get those throws off and for those receivers to get open. 2nd and 2, I formation again, a pair of tight ends. Jackson Gregory, the primary fullback, is actually the running back. Gonna toss it out to him. I did not realize that when I called the play. Would not have called a toss if that was the case. Another concept you'll see a fair amount of in the game plan today is the toss, at least showing it, and getting them to react to it to some degree. So not gonna, get too worked up about having the fullback take a toss. We still want them to have to respect that, but not the ideal player archetype to be taking that type of run. 3rd down and 3 here. Barnes from the shotgun, looking for Peaks on the outside. Incomplete, just not quite enough room to let him continue to work away from the defender, with the sideline being there, and that'll bring out the senior Matthew York, who is having himself a sensational campaign. Will boom this one away, bounces inside the 5, but rolls all the way back to almost the 30-yard line. I feel like the punting game really ebbs and flows between the ball kind of magnetizing towards your guys and it being fun and nice to get some punts down inside the 5, and then it just kind of bouncing and going so sharply away that it costs you literally 25 yards of field position. And it's like, I feel like there's got to be a middle ground, right? There has to be. Anyway, moral of the story for me in this game, Hatter back to work, the lefty, gonna roll to his throw side. Contain could not see him, but Nico Solomon in the Palms coverage has the leverage and breaks up the throw. 2nd down and 10 coming up for this Texas State offense, who I mentioned in the opening, or close to the beginning of the game. Very hot, 39 points per game over their last 2. Trying to complete a 3-game win streak is this Bobcat team to close out the season and reach bowl eligibility. Will have their 3rd consecutive season in the Pac-12 next year, as Wilson is loose. Number 2, LeBourne in chase, and he is going to run him down just outside the 10-yard line. Poor angles right there from our safeties. You're going to see right here, Nico Solomon, another one of the things that guys really struggle with in this game, at least lower-rated players. I guess I'll see if as we get higher rated, if they don't do it as poorly. But just being able to adapt zones a little bit based on formation alignments and how guys break into routes. I know that's more of a pattern match, split field coverage sort of idea, but it still is something that, to my knowledge, has been heavily tied into zone in some fashion. Throw to the corner here, looked like a completion just outside the 1. Flag down on the play. It is going to be a hold, and that is on Obigbo, who we talked about. Struggles a little bit more in pass protection. Gets charged with the foul on this one, and that will cost the Bobcats a nice gain and set up a 1st and 20. Already 1 trip to the red zone for Texas State. Proved minimal in the fruitful department, just 3 points. But another opportunity to cash in here early and take a 2-score lead. Monty on the ground. Great adjusting from Bubba Van Claiborne. And he makes the tackle. 2nd and 17. Doing a nice job to keep them behind the sticks after the penalty on that play there. Going to be a tough mix of containing Monty in this ground game, and then, of course, containing these receivers. And then you mix in the element of the quarterback scramble. This is a classic pick your poison sort of offense, as Monty off the right side there gets 6. And quick to the line of scrimmage is Texas State, as they're going to go trips receivers to the left-hand side on this 3rd and 11. Some adjusting from Hatter from the pocket. Looks to throw. Pressure is going to get there. That's number 97, Deshaun Weeks, and number 59, Bubba Van Claiborne, getting home with the sack. And that is going to bring up a 4th down. And you see it here. Get Bubba Van Claiborne lined up on the right guard. Bring that pressure from the right-hand side. His movement and twitchiness proves to be too much for Obigbo. We get the sack. Great game plan execution right there in a critical situation. 3rd down in the red zone. Hold them to a field goal. And it is a 6-0 game. So plenty of movement from this Bobcat offense, but only 42.3%. I believe that's the right number. 3 out of 7, essentially, in the possible points department. 3 out of 8 if you want to factor in 2-point conversions as well. But a little analytics there to show how, even though we're giving up yardage, we're keeping ourselves in the game. And even though, if you saw the ratings going into the game, we are technically higher overall, I guess, than this team. If you compare the rosters, I just don't see how that is the case. We top out at around 82, 83 overall, and they have a couple of guys at 89, another guy at 87, and a 77 overall playing up to an 88 or a 91. So, I don't know, maybe the depth really thins out. It did not seem like that. It seemed like a game where we are really going to have to be thoughtful on how we attack matchups in virtually every single department, because we don't have a clearly favorable one in any sort of way. Play action from Barnes. Talked about how we need to hit some deep play action throws, give ourselves extra protection there. We miss on the accuracy. The rush got in fairly quick right as we threw it. That was about, as late as we could wait to throw the ball on that occasion, and we miss who I believe was CJ Peaks with the throw there. 2nd and 10, quick out on the screen game. Very nice. This is going to be Javon Moore. He has plenty of room, and he's going to take it to the 47-yard line. Chuck play. Seawolves quick to the line of scrimmage, getting this crowd back into it, getting the band to play a little tune, get the vibe up, and get the fellas quick to the line. But that does not always mean we are going to go quick. Ebbs and flows with the tempo. That is the key for us. Little play action sneak bang here. Tanner Milam, scat guy. Unnecessary juke move, cuts right into a tackle. Maybe should have just leaned in and cut back out, to be honest. But a 12-yard gain and keeping the chains rolling right here. 2 tight ends in the game, 1 on each end of the line. Running back in the pistol behind Barnes, 2 receivers to the left. 2 eye safeties for Texas State. Zone coverage look. Trying the counter again, and the classic offensive lineman sees a defensive back and just decides that's a player you never need to block, so he turns back inside. Animation happens. One of my favorites, and it is only a 1-yard gain. Biting my lip, avoiding going down a rabbit hole there. Moving around at the line. 2nd down and 9. Going to change ourselves into a read, or a zone read, RPO here. Strickland, the motion man. Going to keep it on the ground this time. Keontae Tyson. First down. Noma, nitty, gritty, physical. Keeping the chains moving to the 27-yard line. And the boys in blue got some movement on this occasion with the football. More changing from the Sonoma State team. Offense moves around. Strickland's going to move into the backfield from the slot, something we see quite often. Going to keep some extra protection in the backfield here. Get it dialed up. Barnes, play action. Doesn't see much. Get it out at the last minute. Would be intentional grounding. I have turned that off as part of an experiment to see as what is the best mix of getting quarterbacks, especially the AI. I mean, our quarterback is user by me, so I can't really complain about that. But the AI's ability to see receivers in a realistic fashion. Strickland, quick out, touchdown, Noma Nation. Always talking about a deep point when an exciting play happens. That is the norm here. But in the end zone for the first time in the Powder Blues on Senior Day, you see the crowd jumping around, and with the extra point, Sonoma State will take the lead. QB draw RPO is going to be a big part of the game plan here. Going to see if we can get their DBs looking in the backfield, get their D linemen up the field, and just get the ball out quick to our receiver, or just take off through the middle of the line after their line has come up the field. But exactly the point of running the play there for the touchdown, as Matthew York will send it through on the PAT. Normally I try to put in George Lincoln for the PATs, but since York is the senior, we are just going to give him full kicking duties for this game and our bowl game that we will theoretically have. We don't know for sure, but if we win with 8 or 9 wins, I mean, it'd be ridiculous if we don't get one. On the return, number 89, Treyun Bell, the first one there. And then it looked like Terrell Pace and someone else, could not see the number, I apologize, in on the tackle for Sonoma State. Gonna get our option read responses correct here. Make sure we keep Hatter contained in the option game. 3rd time on the field for the defense. 2 trips, 2 scores, both field goals. Certainly a bend, don't break philosophy early on here. Going to switch up where we bring the pressure from. Quick out on the screen game. That's number 1. Chris Don Jr., his 2nd catch of the game. Or at least one that I can remember. Quick to the line again. Mahdi up the middle. That is a first down. Seeing his ability to find space, move quickly, and the size and strength of this O-line come into play. So even though they don't have great run block ratings, they still have strength, so they're probably going to be able to push us off the line. So it's like we really need to kind of defend the run with numbers, but to do that we need to take numbers from defending the pass, and then you top that with the option in QB contain. It is a lot. Taking advantage right there. Quick strike right down the middle. That is number 11, Bo Sparks, for a big play. And quick to the line again for Texas State. as moving the ball into Sonoma State territory has certainly not been an issue for them in this opening frame. 3 eligibles to one side, we've seen that regularly, and on the counter, the defense is going to do a very solid job keeping it to a minimal gain, just a yard, but that will not faze the Texas State no-huddle attack. Heavy zone team going to go man here, and Mahdi is going to get the outside. LeBourne chases him down and makes the tackle. Second time I've really had to user him and take a tough angle to prevent a touchdown. And that's kind of how you want it, right? It's a mix of like, hey, I want it to play realistic, so, especially where we are now, it should come down to me making some key plays to prevent big plays from becoming really monumentally game-changing plays, if that makes sense. But Texas State going to send out 4 receivers on 1st and 10 from the 20-yard line. 3 times with the ball, 3 trips to the red zone. Shifting around from the front, Mahdi again tries the middle, right where we brought some pressure from the BVC pipe, and he fills the hole. 2nd and 11 for for the Noma Nation defense. Texas State offense show a lot of 3 high. Going to roll into a 2 invert. Still take care of the run well on this occasion. 3rd down and 9 coming up for Texas State. And pauses are the one thing I look for to take out before I go and commentate this, and I don't know how so many still end up slipping in there. My goodness. 3rd and 9 early in this second quarter. Ball at the 19-yard line. 3 receivers, tight end. All 3 receivers to the left-hand side, tight end to the right. Mahdi to the left. Bo Sparks, man in motion. Rollout. Hatter sees him late, but Dakota Mills is going to get over there to take care of it just in time, and it is going to be a 4th down and 1. And normally 4th and 1, I've heard this logic from coaches, they normally aren't going to fake a field goal 4th and 1 because you would just go for it. But I was like, man, 2 trips to the red zone, feel like they might lean into a fake, so we dial up the safe, and we end up taking care of it. I would love to see a measurement on that. It felt pretty close, but turned away. Seawolf defense coming up big, and the offense back at work with a 1-point lead, starting from our own 10-yard line. Another zone coverage look from this Texas State Bobcat defense. Barnes drops back from under center, moves away and hits Javon Moore underneath for a gain of 8 yards. Buy us a little room. Get it out to, I guess, the 19-yard line. 18 and a half, it would appear. 2nd and 2. Bodies down near the line of scrimmage for Texas State. We're going to drop back and throw. Barnes takes a shot deep. Cannot wheel it in. Had the breakaway from leverage, and I believe we threw it right on time. We'll see it right here. Let go of it right there. Yeah, before he starts the break, put it on him. Just need to either bring him a little more to the inside, just a little bit, or just need to hang on to the football. That's the real answer, though. But worthwhile shot down the field, brings up a 3rd and 2, and Nolan Knight is going to pick it up. Should have just jabbed back in and then stuck it right back outside where the blocks were very well set up. Just needed to ensure the block actually got done correctly. But 1st down, Sonoma State, that is certainly the priority on a 3rd down. And that is going to be Maverick Bentley, it looks like, the 2nd tight end moving over. Fullback and a running back in the offset eye in the backfield for Sonoma State. Barnes from under center. Knight, patient. Lets the block set up, picks up 5 on 1st down. Keeping it right on schedule for Sonoma State. Talked about with this offense, got to run the ball a lot. Got to stay in our base personnel, identify where number 29 Traylon Payne is, and mix in screens and max protection shots down the field. And stick with our 2 wide receiver personnel a lot, which we have done. You see it right here again. Strickland on the ground was moving around looking to set up the blocks, and they were really persistent about getting 8 in the box and did not love the look to run it here. But with them kind of floating out to the right-hand side, and with the split zone flow from Tyson there, gave us enough room to create a nice cutback and pick up 5. And we get another first down with the senior slot back, hybrid running back, slot receiver, Spencer Strickland. Looking to the sideline again. 2 tight ends. Once again staying in base with 2 receivers. And leaving our tight end on the right end to help out with Suachu against who normally is going to be number 29, Traylon Payne. I can't exactly see right now if it is him. But we are going to have movement, and that is going to be the left tackle, Kalen Franklin, one of the other seniors on this team. 2 seniors on the O-line, both on the left-hand side. Left tackle, number 73, Kalen Franklin, and left guard, DeMarcus Perkins. A couple of big fellas. 6'7", 317 from Franklin, 6'5", 329 from DeMarcus Perkins. So we got some big guys coming in on the O-line this next season and through the recruiting classes we have done so far, so we should replace them. But in the middle of the field, I believe that is CJ Peaks, and that is certainly a Sonoma State first down. Normally the ref in the middle of the field kind of throws me off as an extra defender. Didn't get me that time, as we see right through that and pick up the first down. And here, trying to get a double team on that right end again, and I think for about 9 years as to what hot route to put our receiver on the right-hand side on, and then end up ultimately deciding to just leave him on a streak. Play action, gonna get Barnes out, throw it to Gregory. Of course, we don't get an actual double team on the guy we said to double team, but that is all right. Wide open in the flat is the fullback, another senior, 6 yards on first down, on schedule again, and continuing to show this front a lot of different things to slow down that speed, get the ball out quick, still test these defensive backs vertically, and make them respect a lot of different things. Moving around again, trying to flip the run to the other side. It will not let me. Probably should have just stuck to the right, but only a couple yards for Nolan Knight, and that is going to bring up a 3rd down and 3 as we hit about the 5.5 minute mark in this second quarter. Barnes keeps up the middle, gets the first down, puts the head down, and picks up another movement of the chains. Seawolves to the line quick at the Texas State 35. Going to shift out a quads look right and go quick right back up the middle with Barnes. One of my favorite shifts. It's so much fun. You just get them all. Oh my goodness, they're throwing 4 guys to the right. Nope, right up the middle with the quarterback. Easy 7. Going to roll out here. Dangerous throw. Had to angle it back into CJ Peaks as they crashed right down on our outside receiver running, just, literally just turning around, just a little spot. Threw to the inside shoulder of the receiver. Got on literally at the last second I possibly could while still being able to move him enough to prevent an interception. And definitely one where should have probably just thrown it out of bounds. Live to see another down. 3rd down and 3. Sometimes you just got to bind your own time and make the screens weird. Again, probably should have cut out to the right, but a first down with Spencer Strickland. If your linemen are not going to give you a chip, sometimes you just got to bring the blockers to your linemen. To the line on 1st and 10 on what is essentially the 20. It's crazy that they call this the 21, and then earlier when we were on like the 18.5 at the beginning of this drive, they called it the 19. Sure, that has to do with whose side of the field we are on, but interesting nevertheless. Winding down the play clock. Knight runs into a guy, but ends up buying time. I was trying to sidestep that first guy, but he ended up kind of just running himself out of the play. Probably cost ourselves a touchdown, but nevertheless a first down run, and it is 1st and goal from the 7-yard line as we come back to the line here. We're going to go quick option left. Knight around the corner. Noma Nation. Touchdown. Seawolves. The dance is here. The crowd is loud, and the fellas are celebrating. 13-6 Seawolves. Extra point will make it 14 as the freshman from Kernersville, North Carolina, is in the end zone for the 2nd time this season. A glimpse to the future on a day where we celebrate the gentleman who helped us establish ourselves in these first couple of seasons. Noma Knight should be a huge piece to the puzzle next year. Like I mentioned, we are losing a number of guys off the top of my head. 2 on the O-line, 2 primary backs, our fullback, starting tight end, 2 linebackers, a D lineman, 2 primary. I mean, it's like 10 or 11-ish starters and like 12 or 13 guys who play primary roles. And we haven't even talked about the transfer portal yet and who will be shuffling in and out through there. But on the return, number 1, Chris Don Jr., he's wrapped up at the 21-yard line, and this Texas State offense is back to work. Story has not changed. Moving the ball, not a problem. Finishing in the end zone, big one. Monty to the right, plenty of room on first down for a first down. Already 12 carries for 60 yards for the running back. A bit of a refreshing change of pace, I would say, as we have seen almost relentless passing, it feels like. Again, at the end of the year, after our bowl game, I need to go through and try to figure out the splits. So, anyway, that could lead to a whole other thing. But anyway, on the ground, Monty, 21. Some things don't change, as moving the football is the norm for this Texas State unit. Getting to the line and shifting. Originally 3 to the left, now 3 to the right. Monty on the right side of, I don't know why I was about to say Hatter. Hatter, the quarterback, the Mad Hatter, out to the right side, pick up 4 yards. Tempo not slowing down for this Bobcat unit, big part of what they do. Bluff that pressure on the left with blanks. Seal off that coverage. Trying to contain the quarterback, cannot. And Jaquez Blanks is going to come off that coverage and maybe prevent a touchdown. I don't know if anyone else noticed it, but we had a quarterback do like that cross your arms and act tough celebration after we gave up a scramble of 15 yards. Gentlemen, come on. To the ball right here, pick up a 6. Once again in the red zone is Texas State as they continue their rapid pace in this game. Cutting him off. Monty tries to get out, and he is taken down. Already the 3rd sack of the game for this defensive unit. A big key to what has helped us stabilize ourselves in the red zone so far. I really feel like they have leaned away from the run and tried to throw it more down inside the 20. And it's really cost them because our pressure has been able to get home, and we've been able to dial up blitzers at the right time and right place. We see it again. Bring a blitzer off the right, have the QB contained, and Hatter just really runs himself into trouble instead of working up through the pocket. Sacks on back-to-back plays, and just like that, a drive stalled yet again for the maroon and gold, the Bobcats. See it right here. Pace brings the pressure from the right-hand side, and he just runs right into Taj Coles, one of our rotational pass rushers. Had a brief stint as a mainstay in the lineup last season and had a little bit of a surge. I believe even won a Pac-12 Defensive Player of the Week award based on his performance versus San Diego State last season. Really struggled in the second half of the year, didn't have the same impact, and off of training results last season has taken on more of a backup role. But we will see if he sees more of the field in the future. Took a timeout there that I should have taken right after the sack. Oh well, kick is up and good. 4 possessions, 4 trips to the red zone, and 3 field goals for Texas State. And the sentiment on their sideline has to be one of disappointment and regret on the missed opportunities in this first half. Going to need to find a way to capitalize and punch it in the end zone against this stingy Seawolf defense that ranks 3rd in the nation against the rush, if the Bobcats hope to prevail and keep bowl eligibility hopes alive. I believe a little bit our polarness in our defensive ranking, 2nd to last in the country against the pass, 3rd best against the run, is due to the fact that, as Ty Hardy almost finds a crease on the return, is due to the fact that my coverage sliders are a little too low, so I did readjust over these past few games after the UNLV game to try to regress back to the mean. I talked about it in the Wyoming game. I felt like I was just so all over the place in our past games and setting stuff up. I needed to get back to stabilizing as we try to come out for a 2-minute drive here. Get it out quick, flag on the play. It's going to be roughing the passer, as I will get back to my point. There's a big element of this game that I do appreciate, but it also can get frustrating as well, because if you get lost down the rabbit hole of things like I can do, it can lead to some not great things, and that is that the players seem to kind of take notice to things as you take notice to things, if that makes sense. Nolan Knight, the freshman, on the corner for 6 yards. And because I was doing so much to set stuff up, I felt like I was not able to really play plays and be attentive to who I was using and what my assignment was and all of that. So, again, I don't know how much of our struggles in the past are because I was just so all over the place in coverage that is how our players were playing. So it's a balance of I kind of reset myself, got myself back to base defense, and really really simplified things and refined out how I wanted to run and handle certain concepts and adjustments. And I think from there, it'll make it easier to get a true assessment of where the full correct slider is. So right now it's back on the 50 for pass defense and reaction time. 3rd and 4 here. Don't want the clock to stop after this play. So going to go to a screen. Strickland has the first down, has room on the sideline. Looks like he's going to get out of bounds. But anyway, so it's back to 50-50 right now. I don't think it'll stay there forever. However, I will say, again, because I'm commentating this having already played the game, based on this game and the Wyoming game, the 2 games I played back to the median, it still felt like a real appropriate mix of challenge and concepts really working the way they're intended to take away the threats that they're intended to, and there being a realistic kind of balance of quarterbacks being able to then kind of progress through things. So like in this game, we're facing an 80 overall scrambler who doesn't see the field as well, where last week against Evan Sabota from Wyoming, he had 87 awareness. This week with PJ Hatter, he has 75. And I think one of the real differences in those games and the outcomes in the games was their ability to see the field. So I feel like we're back to a more realistic place. Again, I'll be able to tell with a greater sample size where to go back to. For, what's the right word? Reference, we were at 38 before. I think that's a little too low. I'm guessing somewhere the slider will settle between 43 and 47, but we will see as we go on. Barnes working over the middle in the 2-minute drill. Quick to the line here. I believe that was LJ Young Jr. for a gain of 4. One of the first times ever I actually adjusted the tempo in coach adjustments to go to the no huddle. Strickland underneath. He has had a very impactful first half, the senior, and that is a first down just outside of the 10-yard line. To the line. Screen to Strickland. What a play! Intercepted! That is number 25, Carmicah Glass, with an insane job to elude the 2 blockers and jump on that throw. We have certainly gone to the halfback screen a good amount throughout the season, but especially here today, and Glass gets a jump on it, and Texas State gets a stop. So all 4 drives, Texas State has had it. As we wrap up Mahdi and take it into the half, they have moved the ball, taken it into the red zone, settled for 3 field goals, and turned away on a fake. We have moved it, I guess, on 3 occasions. 1 occasion got stopped, 1 occasion through the interception, which you just saw. So, again, I still feel like this is a game where Texas State truly looks like a more talented team, while we look like a very well game planned team, which is really what I'm going for. So again, I don't want concepts that shouldn't necessarily be working in the circumstances that they shouldn't, is the simplest way to put that. But I believe we were at a point where they weren't accomplishing the main goals that they're supposed to against a level of competition where they should be effective. So like in this game here today, we've ran coverages where we're trying to take away throws that Texas State has made, but because their players have higher ratings, they are open, and we've really had to, kind of take those blows, so to speak, out of context, rabbit hole sports moment, outside of the red zone and between the 20s, and then once we've gotten into the red zone, we've dialed up the pressure, and I would really dial it up to our change of play calling versus their change of play calling really being the tactical chess match of this game. So if you disagree and there's anything specific you see as to why that is, please let me know. That's just my take, and I'm by no means an expert. Tyson on the toss to open the second half. Starts just like our first possession in the first half, a run to show them something we want to pay attention to, but it does not gain much yardage. Second down and 10. Solid bounce throughout that first half. 3 receivers to the right, split out wide trips formation. Running back on the right side of Barnes as well, that is Tyson. Change the concepts up here. Get it quick out to Tanner Milam after that one guy falls back on that hook we had coming from the receiver far out to the right. Not able to create much in run after catch. You see Barnes there, 14 of 22, 157. So again, a lot of quick throws, a lot of screens. We've taken our shots downfield. We've hit that one big kind of dagger, essentially, route. That wasn't the concept we were running. I'm just blanking on the name. You recall a big in. We hit a big in route to the middle of the field. Had a kind of deep postish concept, although it functions more as like a deep glance almost. But quick out on the sail there to Scott McLawler. You'll see it on the replay here. Look at where McLawler is as... I swear I put it in the replay. Here it is. Look where McLawler is when we go to throw. Rewind it there. Not even out of... We break right there. Not out of the break yet. He's about to break. We have that one corner pressed down on the other receiver to the right. He's breaking away from the leverage of the DB, and we're able to hit it right on time before the safety gets down on the route. So really nice example there of throwing with anticipation and routes winning with leverage. Empty set here on 1st and 10 from the 47-yard line. 3 receivers to the right of Barnes into the boundary. 2 receivers to the wide side of the field to the left. Quick out underneath. That is the tight end again, Scott McLawler. He has a real knack to be streaky, I guess is the right way to put it. It seems like once we get him the ball once, it happens 4 or 5 times very, very quickly, and then you don't hear from him again for a game and a half. It's a really weird phenomenon. 2nd and 1, gonna bring over, I believe that's McLawler. McLawler and Bentley on the left tried to protect us on this blitz from that side they are bringing. Maybe that wasn't the intention. I put him on the route. Don't know why I didn't trust it. Would have been able to hit the comeback, but bail ourselves out, getting out to the right. One of the main reasons our rushing attack has also remained so lethal is Barnes' ability to improvise and kind of really the ability to turn those play-action bootlegs almost into RPOs, essentially, because he can be lethal keeping it, and of course, obviously the main intention of the play is to throw. So it really functions in that regard. We will have likely a mobile quarterback next season, but certainly not near the athleticism of TB5. 1st and 10 from the 36. Tyson on the ground. Couldn't make up my mind on if I wanted to cut in or really just burst out to the left. And bursting out to the left, I believe, having seen it again, was 100% the right decision. But instead, we are going to run right into a blocker and settle for a gain of 3. More 2 receiver sets here for the Seawolves. Barnes looking to the sideline. Receiver going to shift over to the left now. Twins look. Ball in the middle of the field. Now Bentley's going to motion over. 2 tight ends to the right, 2 receivers to the left. Screen out. Quick game. Looks like Javon Moore. Gain of a couple. Going to bring up a 3rd down and 5 at the Texas State 31-yard line. This Bobcat team, a very interesting story. One of the initial Mountain West teams playing up in the Pac-12. Those initial teams were selected based on overall rating at the start of the dynasty. So that's how they got in. 3rd and 5 here. Barnes from the pocket, gonna step up. Has an easy first down, slides down at the 18-yard line for a first down, but back to Texas State. Playing up in the Pac-12 last year. Did not make the Pac-12 championship, but had a very good season, qualified for the college football playoff. Upset Ole Miss, earned their way at least to the quarterfinal, and I believe it was Ohio State that finally stopped them, if I remember right. Strickland to the outside on the sweep. He's going to get it to a 1st and goal. But very cool to see a team playing up earn their way into the playoff. One of the main things with a promotion relegation aspect is not just getting these group of 4 schools, as it is in this setup, opportunities in the playoff, but getting them a chance to kind of give something more tangible where they can show, hey, we can punch up, we can play with these schools consistently, and maybe get them the kind of attention and backing they need to level themselves up long term. Tyson on the ground here, going to pick up 4 yards. But anyway, so Texas State, a team that is off to a great start in that regard. Gone to the playoff, now staying up for a 3rd straight season going into next year. Obviously, a better win-loss record probably would have been something they would have liked to have accomplished, but nevertheless accomplished the primary objective of a team playing up, which is to stay up, and then when we reshuffle, maybe they could be a full Pac-12 member. More in motion, get it out to him, block set up, touchdown, Noma Nation. Drop the ball on the ground, number 10, Powdered Blues popping. The crowd is popping, everyone popping. Dust the shoes, celebrate the touchdown, the crowd is excited, and why wouldn't you be? Sonoma State football is back with vengeance, folks. Coach Callie Z and company really turning up the pressure this season from 4 wins to at least 8 wins, a chance to take it potentially to 10 and finish with a top 25 ranking. It's been fun, and it's going to be, despite the challenge of losing a lot of seniors after this season, I feel like that kind of adds to the storyline. We've had this first wave of guys that helped us set ourselves up, and now we're going to meet kind of the second crop of base guys from our initial roster, mixed with the recruits we are bringing in to help us build for this future where we hope to consistently play with the best of the best. No excuses, resource disadvantage be darned. We want to go after everyone. George Lincoln sends it away. 21-9, just under 5 minutes to go in this 3rd quarter here. Chris Don Jr. taking it. Cannot reach the 15-yard line, down at 14. And this Texas State offense will get what I believe is their first crack of this second half. We really just go on a 6-minute drive? 6 minute, 5 seconds? I guess so. Exactly what you want to do against a tempo team. It's kind of what we want to do against tempo teams, actually, is it's like, yeah, move it between the 20s, make you settle for field goals, and then we're just going to chew up the clock on offense, and you're not going to have the ball enough to score enough, because that's kind of their, one of the main philosophies is outscore you through sheer mass of plays to some degree. Again, really simplifying it, as over the middle, working open is number 11, Bo Sparks, for a first down, and Texas State is quick to the line. But obviously, you know, a lot of aspects playing into it. The more plays you run, theoretically, more points you are going to score. On the ground, Monty, he is taken care of for a loss of 2. Weak side edge pressure, helping out right there. More no huddle, more movement. Trips receivers, kind of a spread out, bunchish look to the right. Trying the outside is Sparks, or is Hatter. Looking for Sparks, the Mad Hatter, number 6. Don't know why they're showing it after the incompletion. But the man who is impersonating Michael Penix in this one today, 10 of 14, 184 yards, slinging it from that left arm. Surpassing what was it, 3,000 yards, I want to say? Anyway, number 6, PJ Hatter. dual threat ability has been on display today, but a 3rd down and 12 and a chance to maybe keep them from getting in the red zone for the first time. And the spy, Alexander Valentine, getting them there. Going to get credited with a sack. Certainly not your classic rush getting home sack, but we will take it in the stat sheet, and it functions all the same to us as it forces 4th down, and it will be, in theory, the punting unit coming on for Texas State. We've already seen the trickery on special teams today, running a fake on a field goal earlier. Perhaps a little bit of frustration, as it was their 3rd consecutive drive to stall out in the red zone. But here, 4th and 13, own territory. Going to kick it away with number 38. DeMarvin Holland back deep. He's going to go left, past the man, cut back right. Holland loose, tries to make a man miss, cannot. But a solid return from number 27, someone who will have a great shot to play a greater role on the defense next season. He is a cornerback, punt return specialist for us, number 2 kick returner. Fairly explosive, not a make-you-miss sort of guy, but can change direction and move fairly well. Barnes on the bootleg, see it functioning like an RPO once again. Gets to the outside and going to get down a yard short of the 1st down line. To the 36-yard line. Barnes in the ground this season, not as much quantity, but the quality has been exceptional, and that has been the case today. 6 carries, 52 yards. When our quarterback has tucked it under his arm. Directing traffic on 2nd down and 1. I formation, 2 receivers to the left. That's going to be Moore coming across, going back. Just a little psych. Counter. Tyson. 1st down. Maybe had a chance to make a man miss back inside. I feel like I kind of overcorrected there for the amount of times I should have cut outside and had cut back in earlier in the game. But that was an occasion where I feel like maybe, showing the hips to the outside and cutting back in would have been the right choice. I formation again, as our base personnel continues to dominate and the game plan continues to be effective. Right, that's one of the key aspects I've learned as I've studied more and more football, is sometimes the game plan being effective, and option offenses are a great example of this. Is a successful offensive game plan isn't always, we scored, 9 million points. Some of it is keeping your defense off the field, their explosive offense off the field, keeping the defense on their toes and not letting them get a ton of negative plays, and just kind of eating up consistent chunks. Sometimes, it means, getting explosive plays, going right at them, being aggressive constantly. But I feel like that's an oversimplified way to measure success, both offensively and defensively. Because even with our defense, if you look at a lot of the numbers, it's like, wow, this defense sucks. But I feel like situationally, within the context of the games we've played and our offense, it's not great, but it's a little more closer to, that's usable, as opposed to what the numbers say, which is, this is not a good unit, if that makes sense. Motion out Young, going to try to hit Peaks on 3rd and 6, have him on the out, assuming that is a bit of a catch radius situation, maybe a height problem, a little over the head of number 18. And on a 4th and 6, it's going to be Matthew York coming out for the 2nd time today, as these 2 teams will exchange punts after what was a very fruitful first 30 minutes in real-life action, 22 minutes in Rabbit Hole Sports and Media YouTube channel action. Defense back to work. Hatter back to work. Been a while since we've called the name of Cole Wilson, number 1 target on this team, 89 overall. Really well-rounded receiver. Good route running ratings, especially short and intermediate. Not elite speed, but certainly someone who... he's not slow, I guess is the best way to put it, and, if you get lazy with your technique, he will certainly blow by you. Mahdi on the ground again. Refreshing to see a team run the ball at us for a change. They have been successful with it, although I'd rather give them successful runs than throws, as we see Hatter on the move there, hit his man. Once again, number 11, Bo Sparks, in this Bobcat offense on the move. No 3 and outs in this game, although we did finally keep them from stopping the midfield threshold on their last drive. Hatter from the pocket again, quick out. That's the tight end, number 16, Blake Smith. Feel like we have not called his name a bunch, which seems pretty rare given the season we have we have had against tight ends, something I've touched on numerous times. You see the rankings there, blank spot for UCSB at 11 and us at 25. How awesome is it to see us there? That's the mood I would be in if I was an SSU fan too, those people there. Waving the phones, 13 of 17, still 211. So as you can see, it's, we didn't correct things where it's like, oh, no one should be able to throw against us. I think we got it back to being the realistic chess match that it should be in the game of football. 2nd and 1, Monty on the ground, pretty easy first down against what was essentially a super light box. 18 carries for him, 86 yards. He's had some good chunk runs, very similar to the USC rushing attack against us, and that's a very good comp for this offensive line. Chance with the pressure, he misses, and that is going to be number 16, Blake Smith, with room. To the line of scrimmage. 3 receivers to the right, single receiver to the left in a tight split. Monty on the left-hand side of Hatter into the boundary. Moving around with Riggins at deep safety. Going to go to the screen game, and our pressure gets in the way and breaks it up. I believe that was Terrell Pace, who has been a very versatile defensive chess piece for us, and he shows it there in the blitz department. Split tight ends, 1 on each side, running back to the left, 2 receivers to the right. Play action to Monty. Pressure getting home. Is that who I think it is? Kai Riggins, the freshman. His 2nd full sack of the season, 3rd time being involved. I believe that'll bring his stats to 2.5, if I have it correct in my head. And another sack down near the red zone for Texas State, as they have not been able to pick up our rushers efficiently and effectively in this part of the field, and that's what we needed to do. 3rd and 16, leveraged it well there. Pressure gets home again, and this time it's Terrell Pace. Defensive backs making an impact in what's the term? Pass rush. Sheesh. In pass rush in the screen game on 3 consecutive plays. Very nice to see. We get the classic mystery of, is Monty 21 here releasing because it's a check and release, and that's what they want him to do? Or did Terrell Pace actually shed the block? We don't know. Either way, exactly what we want. Get favorable matchups with our blitzers and be able to get pressure that way, which will be especially fruitful in games against higher competition in the SEC and Big Ten. Just sneaking it inside there is number 36. Right in. Shipley. Matthew Shipley? I don't know. We can go with that. We'll guess that. If you see this, number 36 on Texas State, guessing it's a real person, let me know what your first name is. I could also just check the dynasty after I'm done commentating this. That would be another way to solve that problem. But nevertheless, 21-12. Seawolf fans look like they just saw someone kick a cat, but we are still up 2 possessions, people. Come on, let's get excited. 4 for 4 day for Shipley. See, drills that one there. And I guess that was a 57-yarder. I didn't realize that was that absurd. That's pretty crazy, because Matthew York has 99 kick power and comes up short on like 53 yarders. So what's going on there? Is it because he's the punter? Not sure. Ty Hardy taking it out to the 20-yard line. Sonoma State offense back at work. Would love to get a score here. Touchdown 2-point conversion would put us up 3 possessions. Chasing 2-point conversions has not been a great strategy for us this season. Barnes off play action. Gonna hit Peaks. That is going to be close to a first down. Could have gone quick to the flat 2, but always fun to get number 18, CJ Peaks, involved. One of our higher at-risk players to lead in the transfer portal, so we will see if that ends up being the case. Going to shift here. Quick out to number 9, LJ Young Jr., and he is going to pick up a Seawolf first down. Brings us just shy of the 40 as we see the stats for Teron Barnes there. 205 yards through the air, 52 on the ground. Dual threat ability certainly on display. TB5. More 2 receiver action. See that classic big nickel over G look here from Texas State. Going to try to play action and slide the other way on this play here. Dial it up. Quick to the flat, Gregory. He cannot hang on. And it is going to go to 2nd and 10. 19 of 29, 205 for Barnes. 13 of 18, 226 for Hatter. difference in weapon caliber coming into play there. Texas State getting much more run-oriented as they keep 6 in the box against just 5 linemen against an empty set. Get ourselves set, trying to wind the clock. Although I guess it's not running, so why are we doing that? Over the middle, Strickland, first down, 5 catches, 76 yards for the slotback. Fantastic season for him, over 400 yards rushing and receiving after today. Very versatile and also cool. I kind of thought that role might just be more of an in-effect role and not actually be effective, but to actually see that we can get guys to play that role and be productive is awesome. Tyson on the toss. First time that play is fruitful out of any formation today. Again, one of the key things to show, their linebackers are definitely quick enough to chase the toss. Their edges are quick enough to chase the toss. We're really trying to toss weak away from that overhang in their front and really, maximize the amount they have to chase and get a mix of threatening the perimeter and middle in the run game as well. 2nd and 6, just outside of 7 minutes for SSU as they continue a march. McLawler over the middle quick, pick up a 4, and it'll bring up a 3rd down and a great opportunity for Texas State to get off the field and perhaps really put together a threat down the stretch of this game. Just under 6:45 now. Coming out in our 2.5 wide. We got Tyson in the backfield, Strickland the head of the bunch to the right there, put him on a corner route. Not the best concept versus 1 high. Really should have put our default post on a corner and Strickland on some sort of out. Going to get Barnes out of the pocket here. Cardinal sin of quarterbacking, but it's fruitful here. Peaks across the middle, across the body from Barnes, and a pickup of 25 yards. He's going to set up Sonoma State in the red zone at the 14-yard line, and that is going to continue our march towards a potential game-icing score. See Barnes get out here. Definitely had room to run. Plenty of guys with eyes on him, but work across our body, which, again, never advised if you're a young quarterback happen to watch this. Don't do that unless I guess they're that wide open and you have that much trust in your skills and their defense isn't, running towards the spot. Just a very hard and complex angle to throw at, and based on what you would normally see and consider a guy open, when you're throwing across your body, now they actually kind of have angles to cut the throw off, if that makes sense, because it's an inverse of normal throwing angles. You get me? I don't know. Maybe that was just a word vomit. 2nd and 15 after they swallow up the halfback screen, but we'll take that over in interception any day of the week. Really starting to key in on that now are the Bobcats. So we're going to try to dial up a fake screen here to the left side. Granted, not a fake direct halfback screen. We are faking the swing to that. We are faking the screen to the halfback, just on a swing, not a true slip. Should have just thrown it to him anyway, although I'd argue that should have been a touchdown. I don't know how the default throwing has a ball getting defended by a dude 7 yards underneath the receiver. That's kind of insane. But anyway, nevertheless, we won't complain too much because it probably could have been intercepted, and it'll be a 3rd down and 15 as we get ourselves set here and try to set ourselves up for a good field goal at minimum. Potentially threaten a 4th down depending on how close we get. Again, with them pinned deep and a field goal still making it a 2-score game. Having them put together a long drive this late in the game is beneficial too. Milam underneath, space, touchdown, Noma Nation. Number 2 in the end zone, and that could be the icer. The junior receiver feeling it from the crowd. Weeks and Peaks, the Rhyming brothers, they're over to celebrate the score, and with just under 5 to go here in Rohnert Park, the Seawolves have a chance to go up 3 possessions with a 2-point conversion. 3rd and 15, big play. Story of the game has been red zone chances cashed into the end zone from us versus field goals from Texas State, as well as 3rd down conversions. We have been very good on 3rd down. They have really, really struggled on 3rd down. As you saw the replay there, Milam getting into the end zone. Like I said, we are going to go for 2, try to make it a 3-score game. I don't even know what to dial up on 2-point conversions. This seems like a terrible play to run, but I was like, whatever, we'll just do it. Everything I do seems to stink, and somehow that one ends up working. So, I don't know. You tell me what's going on, everybody. But we'll take it. 17-point lead, 29-12. Sonoma State over Texas State. I don't know why that dude isn't staring at it and going, wow, one guy running a route. Maybe I should go, follow him. But I don't know, man. Anyway, I feel like we've dialed up some good 2-point plays that end up getting defended by weirdness, and then I feel like that one right there that the game recommended should have absolutely been ate up, and it scores. But here we go, trying to close it out on defense, trying to avoid a late-game cheese score that makes it interesting. Always feels like that happens in some form or way. One of the other main reasons I realized maybe we needed to up the passing slider or pass coverage slider for us a little bit is because we're playing coverages to prevent deep throws, and so the amount of just straight go balls where guys are running right by safety help, where the safety is starting 15 yards off the line, is just like, yeah, okay, not quite. Like literally anything else. Put on a double move, run a deep hook, like, anything. Like, you could cook it with pretty much anything else. A straight go ball, like, that's the number one alert, so having played the position and not been good at it, to add to that, I will tell you, like, the go ball is the number one thing where it's like, oh crap, I'm not letting that beat me, and that certainly leads to you looking ridiculous against a lot of other things if you don't have a wide range of skills like I did and need to kind of oversell out to defend that. So I'd love to, again, I kind of talked about this after a go ball versus Wyoming in the other game. I'd love to see kind of the secondary effects of certain skill sets play a bigger role in the CPU's plan of attack, if that makes sense. But deep ball there from Hatter. It is incomplete. We put the cap on there. Exactly what I'm talking about. Start from high leverage, stay there. Of course, we surrender at the last second, but it is underthrown. So, again, that's actually just correct play from the DB. 4th and 6, trying to stay alive are the Bobcats. Trying to keep the season alive are the Bobcats. Motion out Mahdi. We saw this once before on the goal line. Looks like the exact same concept. Couldn't even tell you what was going on there. Looked like pressure got home, and he was trying to get it out to the right-hand side late in the flat. That is going to be what looks like number 88, Joshua Townsend, with the pressure. He has been very nice rushing from the interior this season. Turnover on downs. SSU football at the 23-yard line, just outside of 4 minutes to go. If we had a senior backup quarterback, this would be a time to maybe throw him in, give him some reps. Don't know if I would fully want to, put him in there and let him sling it, because one mistake could certainly make things interesting, but at least get him on the field, give him some things to do. It's Tyson on the ground, nothing going on. I don't know why every once in a while I just panic on the option, because right there probably have borderline a touchdown if I pull the ball out, and I cannot complain about having hit the button and it just being too late to trigger. I know I did not hit the button on that occasion and misread it. 2nd and 13. Stacked receivers wide, right and left. Get a motion in Milam to the slot there. Tyson with room, giving him some final carries in front of the home faithful. Not going to be a high enough rating from Keontae Tyson. I believe he's like an 82 now. He entered the season as like an 81 or something. 81 or 82. I believe he's an 82, maybe 83 now. So his overall is high enough where he's going to get drafted. But, I think if you were to tie this to real life, he'd maybe get, a training camp invite playing the XFL, Canadian Football League. He'd have his options and opportunities somewhere. And great season anyway for number 7, Keontae Tyson. Shows how lost in it I can get. 3rd down and 2. Trying to keep the offense on the field. Option into boundary. You really got to be able to pitch it quick on that one there. Because at that point, if you don't pitch it quick and wait till it's late, your running back doesn't even have the angle to really outrun any defenders. He just has to cut up to where they are anyway. So you really just need to sweep it out with the quarterback, which we do with Barnes, and pick up the 1st down. Risk nothing goofy going on with a pitch getting shanked or whatever. It probably would have gone out of bounds, but knowing my luck, might have hit off of Tyson or something, stayed in play. 1st down and 10, just outside of the 2-minute timeout. We're going to take it to the other side of that after this one. Just kidding. Tyson's going to put it on the deck. On it are the Bobcats. 2nd turnover in the red zone this game from us. So I believe Texas State and us are both 3 of 5 in the red zone. Gosh, have all our touchdowns come in the red zone? Is it 4 or 6? Anyway, we've both failed on 2 occasions in the red zone. Texas State once on a fake field goal, or maybe I'm blanking. Are they 4 or 5? It might be, no, because 3 or 4? The numbers are shaky. Anyway, point being, we've both failed in the red zone at least once, but when we have succeeded, we have put it in the end zone. They have settled for field goals, and when they have not scored, they have punted more? Maybe that's not factual. I don't know. Maybe I'm just saying stuff at this point. Marty out quick. Under 2 minutes to go. It's getting hot in the room I'm commentating in, so maybe it's just delusion. 2nd down and 4. Minute 54 to go. See the numbers there. 15 to 22. 236 for P.J. Hatter. Certainly a solid performance. No touchdowns, but no interceptions. Red zone pressure being the thorn in the side for him. Pressure again. This time Hatter is going to get rid of it just in time, and it will bring up a 3rd down, stopping the clock. So plenty of time to keep talking. Just kidding, even I'm kind of running out of things to talk about in this game. Next episode, we will have our bowl game, assuming nothing weird goes on. Maybe a little bit of a longer one, but if you do not want to watch the long base episodes, don't worry, it is not because I'm going over specific football things, more than there's just a lot of stuff to go over. For reference, you can watch our postseason episode from last year. We didn't have a bowl game, so it's basically I'm doing that. Plus, we have a bowl game added on to it. So it'll probably be closer to 40 minutes, but it's going to be nonstop main information, not niche information, would be the simplest way to put that. Texas State continuing the march. Hatter out quick. Tackling out of bounds, Chris Don Jr. again, 5 catches, 45 yards for number 1. 2nd down and 8, 98 seconds to go in Rohnert Park here today. Great turnout from the crowd. Tremendous change from where we were in Season 1, seeing the people out. First time we have ever seen ourselves in the ranking. Another chance with the pressure. Hatter is going to get rid of it late, and that is going to bring up a 3rd down and 8. I am saying that sound a lot. 8, late, all over the place. Anyway, 3 right, tight end left, Smith. Mahdi also left the back. He goes to the flat. All day for Hatter. He's going to throw it away again, and it is a 4th down and 8. And once again, the Bobcats will be going for it at their own 43-yard line. 85 seconds to go. There's also a great time to, I guess, highlight the fact that one of the main things I'm trying to capture with our pass coverage slider is that, again, get situationally, but for the most part, when teams have to pass and lean into the pass and we're sitting back on the pass, it should be harder to pass. And it didn't seem like that was the case, especially in instances where we had the personnel, because again, the strength of our defense is actually our secondary. And again, they're not great man coverage guys, so, we shouldn't really have like a wipeout coverage unit necessarily, but we should certainly have one that holds its own and really makes it hard for teams to throw their way back into games. And it was just way too easy for the CPU to do that without really scheming us up, I guess is the way to put it, if that makes sense. So we'll see if we have overcorrected. My guess is yes, because again, I'm trying to get myself back to being focused on the action and simplify the adapted schemes I am running and be able to actually use them. Another play where we should have gone in, then back out. Going to go to a 3rd and 10. Clock will run, and we will likely have just one more snap here in Rohnert Park. 4 to the line, or 4 eligibles to the right. McLaughlin motions over. Quick out. Javon Moore. 5 yards, 6 yards. And a 4th down and 4. I guess Texas State could have used a timeout if they were really feeling it still. But we're going to use one with 3 seconds left on the play clock. Just wanted to get Spencer Strickland one last carry in front of the home faithful here today. Only gave him 2 carries. I got to come up with other nicknames. In front of the salty Seawolf Nation, I don't know. That's probably worse. Strickland on the ground. Don't know how I can't get myself to the right. But nevertheless, a first down run on a 4th down to end the game. You see it consistent from the offense. 7-7, 7-8 in that final quarter, and a 29-12 victory for Noma Nation. 269 through the air for Teron Barnes, 2 touchdowns. Had 60 or so on the ground, as well as the Seawolf defense puts together a stout outing today. Again, complimentary ball. Defense gave up some chunk plays, hunkered down in the red zone, saved our better pressures for the red zone, and were able to keep them out of the end zone. And our offense was really able to play keep away, mix the run, mix the quick game, screen game, while also taking some shots down the field. Solid game from Barnes. Not huge yards per completion stats, but again, a lot of screen game, a lot of quick game in this one today. Tyson, 13 carries, 50 yards. Not a huge senior day game for him, but Strickland leads us in receiving yards and receptions, and I think tied for touchdowns. Meanwhile, had a touchdown in there as well. Many different guys with a sack. I believe we finished with 7 total. Hatter 17 of 27, 255 through the air. Their backup got in there. I never even noticed that. Threw for a yard. Mahdi, 19 carries, 85 yards. Moderately successful day for him. Chris Don, 5 catches, 45 yards, paces them. And Carmicah Glass had an unbelievable game. 17 tackles, 1 for loss, and of course, that interception on the screen. But thank you for tuning into the broadcast. We will see you next time on Rabbit Hole Radio with the Bowl Game.